Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this one people I'm going to be reflecting on the Carabao Cup and starting on how Arsenal fared. So obviously Arsenal beating Brentford 1-0 away from home. Very solid win for Arsenal, just what we needed to reboot our momentum after suffering that slight setback at the weekend drawing to Tottenham. It was good from the boys to respond, and I think it was a solid performance, and Reece Nelson getting the goal courtesy of a Eddie Nketiah assist, and just the right response from Arsenal. Aaron Ramsdale in goal, getting 90 minutes under his belt, making a few really good saves, particularly one that he tipped onto the post, and generally it was good for the second string or non-first team players to really make their case and put in a performance that just reminds Arteta that they have credentials and that they can step in when called upon. Kivior, Tomiyasu stepping in well in defence, and also Jorginho solid in midfield, and Nelson obviously was a standout in terms of the attacking side of things. So definitely a positive win for Arsenal, and let's hope we can really kick on now people and take this competition seriously. We've got a trip to West Ham coming up in the fourth round, so that is another tricky one, but it's definitely one that we can win if we're on form, and I'd like to see us go there with the intent to win, maybe go even slightly stronger than we went last night, because I think West Ham are slightly better than Brentford, and so we'll need to be at our, or close to our best to beat West Ham. So it'll be interesting to see how Arteta plays things from that point of view in that match. And just briefly people, looking at the other Carabao Cup matches that took place, just to get a feel for the kind of competition that Arsenal are going to face, not only in the Carabao Cup, but also in the Premier League, looking at some of the teams in and around Arsenal at the moment. So obviously Manchester City lost to Newcastle, and make no mistake, this would be a disappointment for Pep Guardiola and for Manchester City. Pep doesn't like going out of any competition, and to lose at the first hurdle for them is really something they're not accustomed to, and it is a little bit of a humbling moment for Pep, and one in which just would put a seed of doubt in the minds of Man City that they're not just going to have this parade to all of the trophies this season. It's not going to necessarily go all their way, and it was good for Newcastle to continue their riposte, to continue their comeback after a slightly slow start to the season. So they've now collected 3 wins in their last 4, including 4 clean sheets in a row. So they're getting back to some solid form, and who knows, they could be in the mix for that top 4 place in the league if they are to continue on this road. And in other places, Chelsea getting a win against Brighton, I thought that was an important win for Mauricio Pochettino, just to take a little bit of the pressure off himself, off the players, because it is a young, inexperienced group, and for them to get a win, I'm sure will give them a lot of confidence moving into the next round of Premier League fixtures. It's a much needed win for Chelsea, and it was also good to land a blow on Brighton, who have been on this serene and seamless progression of late. They've really been tracking very well under the De Zerbi, but just for Brighton to kind of experience a little setback in terms of from an Arsenal point of view, I don't mind seeing that, because it shows one of our rivals maybe just has a little bit of a dent in their armoury. And from Arsenal's point of view, if our rivals are showing some fragility, it can bode well in terms of our pursuit of where we want to go. So that was interesting. And Liverpool winning, Liverpool looking very impressive, beating Leicester 3-1. They're starting to show that they're coming back to some of their best form, and I think that they will be a real force this season in the Premier League as well as the other competitions. And just thinking about that top 4 race, people, it is appearing very contested, very competitive and open this year. Obviously Man City, you would say, are a guarantee for the top four just based on history and the fact that they've won it so often. But then you're looking at Arsenal and Liverpool perhaps as the next two. Tottenham are in the mix, Brighton are in the mix, you've got Newcastle, you've got Man United, Aston Villa knocking on the door. So there are Newcastle, there are a number of teams in and around the mix that could figure as the season unravels. Okay people, just a quick one there, reflecting on the Carabao Cup, how are Arsenal's rivals going? Where are Arsenal in relation to their rivals? Because sometimes it is good to look people at your rivals. Now I know internally, I would say always just look at yourselves and don't get too distracted or hung up on what your rivals are doing. When I say internally, I mean within the club itself. But as a fan, as pundits, we can widen the scope a little bit and look at other teams, and we can compare a little bit. And I just feel like Manchester City losing to Newcastle, Brighton losing, it shows that the imperfections we've seen from Arsenal are evident and apparent in other teams. Because as an Arsenal fan, I pick up what other Arsenal fans say, and I get the feeling as a collective we often are very quick to jump on our own team. We're very quick to potentially underplay how well Arsenal are doing or overplay the setbacks that may occur. But when you look around, the grass isn't completely green or the garden isn't completely rosy at the other clubs, as exhibited by Man City losing, Brighton losing, and yeah, little sticky patches, even Aston Villa going out. It's not completely as if all the other teams have got everything figured out. So Arsenal being 4 points behind in the Premier League, I don't think it's necessarily terminal in terms of Arsenal's prospects and ambitions to win the Premier League. However, I was very pleased that we beat Brentford last night, and I'm hoping we can just build on that and use it as a bit of a springboard in the other competitions, Premier League and Champions League, over the next few weeks. Alright people, hope you enjoyed this video. Really love the dialogue. Let me know if you've got any comments about the video, and onwards and upwards from the Gunners people. Peace, love.